So I'm a hot rodder from way back. Always loved cars, always loved driving fast. In 1977, I got a job as a mechanic, working on BMWs while working my way through engineering school. Fell in love with the cars as soon as I drove the first one, and fell in love with them even more as I took them apart. The way they're put together, the way they're engineered impressed me so much. I go, wow, this is how a car should be built. Never looked back and went back to American cars. That was it for me. But what I'm thinking I was disappointed about was American cars always had those big engines, those monster motors, and the German cars were refined and had a back seat and a trunk. They were reliable and easy to work on. But just didn't have that monster motor. So I started the company so that I could get what I call performance without sacrifice, which is a high output car that handles and has a back seat and trunk. So the first product I made was a turbocharger for a 320i. Then I started racing a 320i and club racing. Like a lot of people that repair BMWs, I'm a car enthusiast, so I go to the racetrack a lot. For many years I've driven all types of cars, from formula cars with open wheels and ground effects, through other high-powered GT cars, now being an engine supplier in racing. But basically, passion as I love cars, I love BMWs, I love going fast. It's the reason I get out of bed every morning. Now let's take a tour of DINAN, and we'll show you how we do the magic we do here. Hi, I'm Steve DINAN. DINAN Engineering was formed in 1979. I've been in business for 29 years. One of the things I'm most proud of at DINAN Engineering is our engineering capabilities. I've worked very hard over the years to make a state-of-the-art research and development facility. A lot of people like to see that sort of thing, so I give a lot of tours, and that's what I'm here to do today, is show you around the place so you can see what DINAN does and why we do it the DINAN way. Unlike anyone else in the industry, DINAN's cars also come with a 4-year, 50,000-mile warranty. This warranty is not just for the DINAN product, but for the entire vehicle, including consequential damages. DINAN's product also goes through emissions testing as well to make it emissions legal in all 50 states. So when you buy a DINAN car, it's a car you can drive every day. A lot of exotic cars are finicky and broken and loud and noisy and rough, and it's just not the DINAN way. A DINAN car is refined and smooth and durable and comes with a warranty, is emissions legal, yet will still usually outperform everyone else's car that doesn't have all those attributes. In addition to high performance products, DINAN also repairs BMWs. This is one of our service centers, and we install DINAN high performance products as well as do BMW repair. And it's any repair, tune-ups, brake jobs, anything you normally get at a BMW dealer. The quality of technicians is very high, as you can understand, because of our engineering capabilities. We've got a lot of depth in training, a lot of depth in equipment. Here's a 335 E92 two-door, and we're doing suspension research, custom valving on the shock absorbers. You'll see later on when we complete our tour that DINAN has its own shock dynamometer, and we've custom valved DINAN shock absorbers for each application, so our suspensions are better than anyone else's. This car right here is an M5. It's being prepared for a road test in both the BMW Roundel magazine as well as Car and Driver. It has the same 600 horsepower engine as the M6, suspension, wheels, tires, all the things that DINAN makes. Really a super car. This is my personal driver as well. This car here is just in for routine maintenance like we talked about, which we do a lot of. And the service shop just parked on this side because they ran out of lifts on the other side of the building. These two 550s right here are in for software research. BMW changed the computer last year, Bosch ME 9.7. They do that about every 18 months these days, so our software department is figuring out how to tune the new version of the software for our DINAN products. That's currently what's in the shop today, being developed. And there's always stuff like this going on, interesting things, as you'll see when we go through the rest of the building, a lot of cool stuff going on. This is a map of DINAN dealers throughout the United States and Canada. DINAN has 143 dealers right now. They're marked in 3 different colors. Red dealers are BMW new car stores, yellow ones are independent repair shops, and the green ones are DINAN corporate stores. DINAN has the best distribution of anybody in the aftermarket in the United States, and this is really important to the customer because it really gets them taken care of no matter where they are in the country. We can fix your car, take care of any problem you have, phenomenal support after the sale. What we want to talk about now is the DINAN difference. And the DINAN difference means a higher level of engineering and execution on every product. Typical aftermarket, how a product is engineered is they just call up somebody who makes springs, and they get a couple different brands of springs and a couple different brands of sway bars, and they put them on a car and they try them, and then they pick the parts they like the best, and they call themselves a tuner. The DINAN way is actually design and engineer our own parts. Almost every piece that you'll buy from DINAN is not only manufactured at DINAN, but engineered at DINAN, designed. And you'll see our design center later. DINAN's always been involved in motorsports. All the great tuning companies and great automotive companies have always been involved in motorsport. It's an important way to make your employees reach, to try and learn more about how a car works and how to make products better. Instead of being involved in the lower levels of motorsport, DINAN always tries to get involved in the highest level that we possibly can. So we won the race this year at Laguna Seca, set the fastest lap at VIR because of our technical expertise. Because DINAN has technical expertise similar to a small car company, as you'll see when we go through the building. We're very proud of this technical expertise, and this gives a chance to flex our technical muscle and show how good we are. Not only do we do all of our own research and development, DINAN does all the final assembly of every product as well. The reason we do this is I discovered years ago that most products in the aftermarket are not really very good quality. And in order to maintain that quality that DINAN wanted, we brought all the manufacturing in-house. Aside from the quality aspect, it gives us the ability to be flexible. Like if we have a design that has a problem, we can make a running change faster. This gives us a lot of flexibility. It does increase the price of the product because we make a lot of very low volume products, but the quality is always better and the performance is always better doing it this way. So how DINAN does its manufacturing is after we do all of our CAD work, our finite element analysis on the computer, we send electronic files over to suppliers, and we have tooling made. So we have one company that will make a muffler stamping end plate for us. Another company will stamp and roll perforated tubing for inside the muffler for noise absorption. Another company will roll muffler cases. Another company will make a hanger. Another company will make a clamp. Another company will make an inlet pipe going to the muffler. Another company will make the tailpipe tips. A second company will polish the tips. A third company will laser etch the tips. So they will have, believe it or not, 10 or 12 suppliers just to make an exhaust system. Every one of them to our specification, designed in our computer. And then when the pieces come here, we 100% QC every product, and it goes in this queue right here for production. Then of course, since we're building each product, we have to make a fixture for each one so it fits the car like the B&W original equipment part did. This is very important. So we actually take literally B&W factory flanges, cut them off, and put them on here to simulate the car. We put hard points where it might touch the bottom of the car to make sure it's going to clear. Little plungers in the end here to make sure it lines up with the pipe that's coming downstream. This is all designed to give the best fit and finish that you can get in the industry and the best performance. This is our QC area. Every part that comes from a supplier flows through here to make sure it meets our specifications, as well as finished goods. This is a DINAN throttle body for an M car. There's a throttle body per cylinder, and the computer knows how much the throttle body is supposed to leak. If it leaks too much, it will set a fault. So it's important that this thing maintain the same tolerances as an original equipment part. To a flow bench, and we flow every single throttle body to make sure it flows the right amount. We have throttle blades in different sizes, so we can fit the throttle blade inside the throttle body and get the appropriate amount of leakage. It takes a little more time to do this way, but it ensures there won't be any problem with the part down the road. This is the DINAN factory, where we build all DINAN products. We have 12 people here that are just dedicated to making everything that we do. We have welding booths, both TIG and MIG for aluminum and steel. We have lathes over here for boring throttle bodies. Sections over here for assembling differentials. This is where all the final product gets put together. This is upstairs in the DINAN warehouse where we keep finished goods. After the design and all the suppliers supply us with raw materials and we do our manufacturing, this is where the pieces come. The pieces are then put in sections based on how they go together to make it easy to kit and assemble for boxing. We keep 2 weeks supply on hand of finished goods, another 2 weeks supply of finished goods boxed and barcoded ready for shipment, so we can guarantee all of our hot moving items to our customers as fast as possible. This is DINAN's machine shop. We do all of our engine machine work in-house as well. We do this for quality control purposes. What we found is a lot of production shops have a tendency to rush processes that are really important, and we want to make sure they get done right, so we bought all the machinery to do this in-house. This is an example of one of those machines. This is a CNC block boring machine. You write a program here, and it bores every cylinder to exactly the dimension you have. Now the reason it's important that it's in-house is the type of bit and the speed in which the bit turns determines whether or not the material is going to get damaged as it's cut. Speed's very important. This is what's called an alusil block. It's a high content of silicon in it, and their silicon nodules can easily get torn out by the cutting bit if it's cut at the wrong speed. So we used to farm this sort of thing out years ago, and we had problems with the quality, so we brought it in-house to ensure the quality was right, having it done the DINAN way, as we say here inside the company. By the way, all these processes we started perfecting back in our Daytona prototype engine. We used alusil in the prototype engine instead of using a steel sleeve or nicosil, because we find the alusil is smoother, the piston glides and has less friction, and the rings seal better and there's less blow-by. So a lot of this research actually started in our racing program prior to building the engine for the street car. The technology that we learned in the racing gave us the confidence to move on into the street car development program, giving us the impression that we could make an engine that would last a long time and make a lot of power. In the past, DINAN's been famous for a lot of bolt-on supercharger kits, turbo kits, and we've done some engines in the past, but not very many. But the engine shop, the engine technology at DINAN has progressed a lot over the last 10 years, and we think we're capable of undertaking this kind of task now. So we went ahead and took that technology and applied it to racing to prove that we could. And once we verified that we had that technology down, then we moved into the street cars as well. This is DINAN's engine teardown area, where we remove everything from the engine, strip it, and put it in each one of these carts so we keep each part separate. Then we have a person who goes along and analyzes each piece and breaks it down to the job flow inside the engine shop. This is the engine build area. Every part comes here and gets cleaned and organized. New DINAN parts get replaced, old parts are going to be reused, get organized to get put back in the engine, such as castings and valve covers and things like that. This room's always kept spotlessly clean, and this is an engine, V10 engine being built right now. Crankshaft's been laid into it, and it's ready to receive pistons and connecting rods. This is DINAN's engine test cell, our engine dynamometer room. This is a 2,000 horsepower brake dyno, where we do both racing engines and advanced street car engine research. It has complete data logging capabilities. All the engines are run by remote control from a panel outside the room. We have a very expensive HVAC system, which you can hear running, which changes the air 7 times a minute, so the air stays fresh, even if you're running 2,000 brake horsepower motor with open exhaust. The room is soundproof, so you can stand outside and talk. This is our toy room. We have a lot of fun in here. This thing runs usually 2 or 3 days a week. This is DINAN's chassis dyno room. This has a very special fan in it. The fan is 4 foot in diameter, has a 10 horsepower motor, and has variable speed, computer controlled. The reason we do this is a modern BMW is very, very sensitive to heat exchanging. The computer compares the water temperature to the radiator temperature and calculates how efficient the cooling system will be by the differential in the temperature. As the radiator gets warmer, the computer realizes the engine is going to overheat, retards the ignition timing, and adds fuel to the engine to protect the engine. So in order to get accurate numbers, you have to have a giant fan with a giant motor, and it has to be sealed to the front of the car, so you're forcing the air through the grill and underneath the bottom of the car. If you don't, the dynamometer numbers are not accurate. Since accuracy is a big thing at DINAN, we take the trouble to do this. This is DINAN's shock dynamometer. We purchased it when we used to road race. It taught us a lot about shock absorber when we raced, and enabled us to understand dampers better and make better handling suspension kits. We decided we could improve most shock absorber valvings and improve the handling characteristics of the car if we did custom shocks for our street suspensions. In addition, because we had so much racing experience, DINAN started making their own shock absorbers, combining the best elements of both the Bilstein and the Coney together. These are handling characteristics and ride quality that cannot be achieved with off-the-shelf dampers. We're now entering the Engineering Design Center. On the right is mechanical engineering, on the left is software. We'll start with software. All the other tuners that we're aware of hire a software calibrator for a day to come in and write a program. This is a tuner for hire. He comes in when they have a project, spends a day or two on it, makes them a calibration, leaves it with them, and leaves, charging them some sort of fee to do it. DINAN has a complete software staff in-house, 5 people total. An embedded systems person to understand the processor and all the code inside the processor. An automotive communications specialist to deal with how the code communicates to the car and how the other control units communicate to each other. A person just takes care of version control. Different versions. BMW makes constant updates to the control units. You want to make sure you get the latest version in your car, so any updates that BMW has incorporated into the system wind up in your car. In addition to, we have a calibrator on staff full-time, as well as me. I used to do a lot of calibrating. He was trained by Bosch, as well as General Motors, worked there for many years before he came here, so he's a professional calibrator. All these people work at DINAN full-time. This is their job, to make sure that our software is better than everyone else's software and we can keep up with all BMW's updates. Now let's take a look at mechanical engineering side. In mechanical engineering, we have a large staff of both fabricators and design people for computers. We have a digitizer to measure the OE part before we do fabrication to fit it to the car. We have a CAD system, SolidWorks, to do design on the computer, and we can fit check all the parts together while they're on the computer. Then we have finite element analysis, which enables us to tell the strength of the part and make sure the part has no excess weight to it. And then we're all done with all the design phases. We have a rapid prototyper, which enables us to grow the part three-dimensionally and fit check it on the car. It makes these parts out of plastic. If it's an intake part, we can even put on the dynamometer and run it and make sure it makes the horsepower we think before we do hard tooling, put the product in production. So now you've seen the whole tour of DINAN Engineering, and what we're hoping you're coming away with is our level of sophistication and broad line of products, over 900 products, is far and away more advanced than anybody else in the marketplace. That we really don't just repackage parts and sell them that other people manufacture. We do all of our own design and all of our own developments. We feel that when you buy a product at DINAN, you're not just buying a product, you're buying the company and the support for the product after the sale. And of course, we always keep in mind our motto, which is performance without sacrifice. Having your car run the best it can and have the least amount of compromises while doing that. Well, I hope you enjoyed the tour and get a better understanding of what makes DINAN North America's premier BMW tuner.